Welcome to Hero Villains. Thank you for always watching and supporting the channel. What do you think happens when Rune King Thor faces Worldbreaker Hulk? Two beings who have each single-handedly shaken the foundations of reality. Two entities no longer bound by fate or destiny. On one side stands the Supreme King of Asgard, the one who hung himself upon the World Tree for 9 days and 9 nights, sacrificing his own eye and life in exchange for the wisdom of the ancient runes. He who erased those who manipulate fate. He who holds the power of all 9 realms and beyond. Thor, the Rune King Thor. On the other side is the infinite rage of Gamma, a creature who has tasted the agony of 1,000 lifetimes, who has become that which the entire universe fears. He is not merely a monster. He is the embodiment of destruction, the nightmare of the Creator himself, the one who walked a path with no escape and became the destroyer of worlds. Hulk, the Worldbreaker Hulk. When the wisdom of the All-Father confronts the power of infinite rage, when Rune magic clashes with primordial gamma energy, who will be the last one standing? Rune King Thor possesses power that vastly exceeds most gods in the Marvel Universe. In fact, divine entities like Odin and Seth were already capable of feats reaching a low multiversal, even high multiversal scale. This stems from the fact that the confrontations between these gods spanned multiple planes of existence, although Odin is frequently depicted with the capacity to destroy galaxies and even an entire universe. Rune King Thor surpasses Odin in every aspect after completing his power awakening. The clearest evidence is that Odin defeated and destroyed Seth in their final battle, whereas Rune King Thor reached a significantly higher level. Odin himself was not born with supreme power. He had to undergo sacred rituals and harsh training to become the All-Father. This is a path reserved for only one individual, for no god is permitted to repeat the ritual of the one who came before to attain the same status and power. Sacrifice is always a mandatory condition for achieving true wisdom and strength. Even gods cannot break this law. If Odin once traded an eye for knowledge from the Well of Mimir, Thor accepted an even greater sacrifice by offering both of his eyes to the sacred waters. After that ritual, he not only restored his vitality, but also unlocked a completely new state of awareness. By drinking from the Well of Mimir, Thor can perceive the entirety of the past that ever existed. Simultaneously, accompanied by the 2 ravens, Hugin and Munin, he receives every memory and every accumulated stream of thought throughout history. This ability provides Thor with a near infinite foundation of knowledge, allowing him to understand the origin of all events and the nature of countless powerful entities. However, seeing the entire past was still not enough to defeat those who sit above in shadow. To surpass that limit, Thor had to acquire the knowledge of the ancient runes. Only by fully mastering the power of the runes could he observe every possibility of the future, grasp destinies yet to unfold, and find the only path to victory against the most formidable forces. To obtain the power of the runes, a god must accept an absolute sacrifice, even trading their own life. Odin once attained rune knowledge after hanging himself on the World Tree Yggdrasil for 9 days and 9 nights, enduring agony and nearing the boundary between life and death. Thor chose a similar path. He willingly offered himself, undergoing death to complete the ritual and step into a completely new state of existence. After acquiring the full power of the runes, Thor reached a state of near omniscience, capable of seeing those who sit above in shadow, entities that had always concealed themselves beyond the perception of God. Possessing the knowledge of the runes allowed Rune King Thor to break the tapestry of fate, end the infinite cycle of Ragnarok, and defeat those who sit above in shadow. This achievement confirms that he surpassed Odin by an immense margin in both power and perception. However, that does not mean Rune King Thor reached the level of the Living Tribunal. The most reasonable assessment places him at a threshold equivalent to a fully fed Galactus, meaning when Galactus has absorbed sufficient energy and unleashes his full inherent power. This is an extremely high level, but a considerable gap still exists compared to other supreme entities. One of the most controversial viewpoints is the claim that Rune King Thor defeated the Beyonders, or in other words, that those who sit above in shadow are the Beyonders. However, if those entities were truly the Beyonders, it would be very difficult to explain why they needed to absorb the energy generated from the Ragnarok cycle to sustain their existence. This completely contradicts the nature of the Beyonder race. For the Beyonders transcend nearly all laws of existence. They do not depend on any energy source within the multiverse, and their power is consistently portrayed as nearly absolute. In fact, a group of Beyonders once destroyed the Living Tribunal with relative ease, demonstrating a power that far surpasses ordinary cosmic entities. The cycle of death and rebirth has given life to those who sit above in shadow. They drain our energy. They siphon the life force of those who have survived it time and time again. They render our existence hollow, each sacrifice and every act of valor diminished in meaning as they are repeated in an endless loop. Rune King Thor speaks of those who sit above in shadow needing the energy from Ragnarok to sustain their existence. Those who transcend all limitations do not require energy to exist. After acquiring the full knowledge of the runes and inheriting the power of Odin, he reached a level far surpassing most Asgardian gods. One of the clearest demonstrations of this is that Rune King Thor needed only a single blow to defeat Mangog, an entity embodying the strength and rage of billions of soul. Prior to this, Mangog had overwhelmed and defeated even Odin himself, which sufficiently illustrates the immense gap in power that had formed between Rune King Thor and the All-Father. Rune King Thor also easily brought down Loki after Loki had been amplified by Mangog's power and ascended to the level of a supreme god. The battle posed virtually no significant challenge to Thor. With an overwhelming disparity in power and knowledge, he swiftly neutralized all of Loki's strength, proving that ordinary sorcery or borrowed power cannot possibly rival the might of the runes. Another feat showcasing the power of Rune King Thor was directly tearing the fabric of reality to open a path for Surtur to enter Valhalla. The pinnacle of Rune King Thor's power is displayed when he confronts and defeats those who sit above in shadow, the entities that had manipulated the Ragnarok cycle for countless eons. This victory confirms that Thor had vastly exceeded the level of the Asgardian Skyfather. With the power of the runes combined with the Odin Force, he is widely regarded as capable of standing shoulder to shoulder with the Celestials and potentially confronting certain abstract entities under specific circumstances. Beyond his immense physical strength, Rune King Thor also possesses near omniscient knowledge, rune magic capable of altering the laws of existence, and the Odin Force perfected to its ultimate level. It is this very combination of wisdom, magic, and divine power that allowed him to effortlessly obliterate Mangog from existence, turning an entity that once caused Odin himself to struggle into a defeated foe in a mere moment.
I really hope you will subscribe to the channel. It would help us tremendously, and you are the absolute best. Thank you so much.
Now let's talk about Worldbreaker Hulk. Following the event in which Hulk ravaged Las Vegas, a group of superheroes known as the Illuminati, including Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Black Bolt, and Mr. Fantastic, decided that Hulk posed too great a threat to Earth. Worldbreaker Hulk is one of the most fearsome states of power Hulk has ever achieved. When he clashed with Red She-Hulk, the scale of energy released in the battle was so immense that the aftershocks alone were enough to completely vaporize a planet. This colossal destructive force simultaneously obliterated Bybeast, Armageddon, and even Fin Fang Foom after the entity had been further empowered. The scale of that destruction demonstrates that every impact from Worldbreaker Hulk carried an energy source far exceeding known limits, especially when considering the durability of Armageddon. This entity had previously proven its extraordinary defensive capabilities by withstanding a full force attack imbued with the power cosmic from the Silver Surfer. Yet, against the rage of Worldbreaker Hulk, that defense was utterly meaningless. Even Darwin, the mutant famous for his ability to evolve and perfectly adapt to any threat, did not choose direct combat. Instead, his mutant ability automatically determined the optimal survival strategy: staying away from Hulk. This serves as an indirect but highly compelling testament to the level of danger Worldbreaker Hulk posed, even to those possessing near absolute adaptive powers. Another remarkable feat is that Hulk survived after absorbing the full power of Pandora's box, an energy source described as equivalent to approximately 133.45 times the maximum strength of Hercules. Enduring and controlling this colossal energy source shows that Hulk's body possesses resistance and adaptability far exceeding the limits of most gods and superheroes. According to the assessment of the genius Amadeus Cho, if Hulk were to completely lose control, virtually no force would be capable of stopping him, including Hercules. Amadeus Cho himself admitted that in an all-out war against Earth, Hulk would have more than enough strength to destroy everyone who stood against him. Worldbreaker Hulk also swept through a vast number of mindless ones, an army that had repeatedly caused trouble for both Dormammu and Umar. Furthermore, Hulk laid waste to the entire domain of the Dark Dimension, a realm that had fallen under the rule of either Umar or Dormammu at various times. Raising a dimension renowned for its magical power and formidable armies confirms that Worldbreaker Hulk not only possesses overwhelming physical strength, but also the capacity to generate destruction on a cosmic scale. Worldbreaker Hulk represents the pinnacle of Hulk's power, a state where his rage and accumulated energy reached an unprecedented limit. One of his most prominent feats is laying waste to the Dark Dimension, a vast dimensional plane described as possessing a scale far exceeding the Earth. 616 universe, in terms of space and existential structure. Leveling this realm proved that Worldbreaker Hulk's power is no longer confined to the scope of a single planet or a single universe, but is fully capable of impacting dimensions of colossal scale. During World War Hulk, he successively defeated a series of Earth's mightiest icons, including the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, Doctor Strange, Black Bolt, and finally, Sentry. Each opponent possessed powers among the strongest, yet all fell one by one before Hulk's absolute might. These consecutive victories affirm that at that point in time, virtually no superhero on Earth was capable of confronting him directly. After exposure to the warped space core on the planet Sakaar, Hulk's physical strength ascended to a completely new level. According to writer Greg Pak, Hulk possessed physical strength, surpassing all mortals and nearly every immortal entity that had ever existed on Earth. This statement clearly reflects the author's creative intent, establishing Worldbreaker Hulk as the highest benchmark of brute strength during that period. The destructive capability of Worldbreaker Hulk is also illustrated through seemingly simple actions. With just a single step forward, without stomping hard on the ground or launching any attack, he generated a catastrophic earthquake powerful enough to threaten submerging almost the entire east coast of the United States. Worldbreaker Hulk also easily defeated Bybeast and Wendigo after both were enhanced by the power of the Wishing Well. Even in their normal states, these two opponents had repeatedly fought evenly with or even overwhelmed Thor and Savage Hulk, placing them among characters typically ranked at the Herald level of strength. After being enhanced, their capabilities exceeded their previous levels many times over, reaching the high Herald tier or even higher by many assessments. However, against Worldbreaker Hulk, the gap in power remained far too vast. Hulk completely overwhelmed both of them without encountering any significant resistance, rendering all efforts to fight back utterly meaningless. Hulk, in every incarnation, is renowned for his regenerative abilities, but Worldbreaker Hulk is virtually immortal. He can regenerate from a single cell, and his durability is such that he can withstand reality-shattering attacks completely unscathed. During his battle with Sentry in the World War Hulk event, the two pummeled each other to the point where Sentry, a being possessing the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns, exhausted himself and reverted to his human form while Hulk remained standing. At the Worldbreaker level, this durability is elevated to an entirely new height, allowing him to survive in the harshest environments and withstand attacks capable of wiping out cosmic entities. His strength at this level is described as having no upper limit. In his Worldbreaker state, merely walking across the surface of a planet is enough to trigger cataclysmic earthquakes and melt the planetary crust into magma. He doesn't even need to throw a punch. His very existence is a passive attack. The most classic demonstration of this is his battle with Red She-Hulk. When she punched him, he didn't even bother to react. Instead, the energy radiating from his body automatically counterattacked. But the most terrifying feat was the moment he and Red She-Hulk struck each other. The force of the impact generated a shockwave so devastatingly destructive that it shattered the very fabric of reality, tore apart space-time, and threatened to destroy the entire dark dimension of Dormammu. Hulk can breathe underwater, survive in the vacuum of space, and, most importantly, he can adapt to specialized attacks. If a magical or psychic attack injures him, his body will automatically adjust to counter it the next time. This makes taking him down with the same technique virtually impossible. And now, let's get into a direct comparison and battle analysis. This is one of the most difficult matchups to call, because both have transcended the limits of what we can measure. At first glance, the boundless physical strength of Worldbreaker Hulk seems like an insurmountable advantage. One punch from him can shatter reality and level everything in its path. If this were an inter-universal boxing match, Hulk would have a massive edge. But Rune King Thor does not fight like a brawler. He is a supreme sorcerer, and the question is whether muscle can defeat magic at the level of fate manipulation. Worldbreaker Hulk's power comes from anger. It is infinite, but its nature is physical destruction. Rune King Thor's power comes from understanding. He doesn't just see every atom, every molecule, he sees the very threads of fate that wove Bruce Banner and the monster inside him into existence. With rune wisdom, Thor would not try to match Hulk's strength. He would look into the very fabric of Hulk's being, find the source of the gamma power, its connection to the one below all, and its weakness. Hulk has no way to definitively finish off Rune King Thor. He can punch a hole through reality, but Thor has transcended death itself. He exists beyond the ordinary cycle of life and death. You cannot kill someone who willingly died and was resurrected to become a concept. Physical strength, however terrifying, only operates on the physical plane. Rune King Thor exists on a higher plane. Conversely, Thor has many tools at his disposal to neutralize or defeat Hulk. He can absorb or transmute the gamma energy within Hulk's body, the very thing that fuels his power. Without gamma energy, Hulk would simply be Bruce Banner, simply rewrite Hulk's fate, turning him back into Bruce Banner permanently, or erase the very concept of Hulk from the timeline. Just as he erased the Norns, beings far more powerful than Hulk on a conceptual level. Tap into Bruce Banner's deepest pain, his childhood traumas, and use rune wisdom to heal his soul, thereby disarming the rage. The battle. The battle would begin with pure destruction. Worldbreaker Hulk, with boundless rage, would charge at Rune King Thor. Every step would melt the ground, every swing would tear the sky. Hulk would throw a punch with all his might. A punch with enough destructive force to obliterate an entire dimension. But Rune King Thor would not be there to take it. He would have seen that punch before it even formed in Hulk's mind. He would fade into the time stream or simply conjure a magical shield forged from the very language of the universe. This shield would not block the punch with physical force. It would absorb all the kinetic energy and disperse it into another dimension. Thor would realize that defeating Hulk through brute force is an endless and unnecessary cycle. With his rune eyes, he would see into the soul of Bruce Banner, a wounded child hiding behind a fortress of rage. He would not attack Worldbreaker Hulk. He would whisper to Bruce Banner. He would use his cosmic wisdom to commune directly with the spirit within the monster, healing the psychological wounds and shattering the shackles of anger. In a single moment, the rage would subside, and once the rage is gone, Worldbreaker Hulk would cease to exist. Rune King Thor would win, not by destroying his opponent, but by erasing the very reason for the battle's existence. This is a fight that Rune King Thor wins overwhelmingly on a strategic and conceptual level. This victory does not come from being able to punch harder than Hulk, because on some level, no one can punch harder than Worldbreaker Hulk. The victory comes from Rune King Thor, having transcended the trap of physical power. He operates on a higher plane. Worldbreaker Hulk is the pinnacle of physical strength, an unstoppable force of destruction in the physical world. But Rune King Thor is no longer a purely physical entity. He is a conceptual entity, a god of fate and wisdom. Pit the world's best boxer against someone who can rewrite the rules of the match, and the outcome is predetermined. Hulk is strongest when he is angry. But Thor, with rune wisdom, can address the very source of that anger, neutralizing Hulk's most powerful weapon.
And that is our analysis of the battle between the Supreme King of Asgard and the Destroyer of Worlds. Let us know your thoughts by leaving a comment below. Do you side with the wisdom of the runes or the power of infinite rage? If you enjoy epic showdowns like this, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any future cosmic battles. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again in the next matchups. That's today's video. Thank you very much.